Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group. A leading union says it will fight back against the mass firings of federal employees, refuting the claims by the Trump administration that they had poor performance. And the Department of the Treasury's Inspector General announced its plans to audit DOGE's access to payment systems. It's Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's dive into the day's top headlines. American Federation of Government Employees National President Everett Kelley said the federal worker union would fight mass firings of government employees on Thursday, calling the Trump administration's actions a politically driven abuse of the probationary period. His statement comes after reports that probationary employees were fired from agencies across the federal government last week. In his statement, Kelley refuted claims that employees were fired for poor performance, saying that, quote, "There's no evidence these employees were anything but dedicated public servants." In response to a request for comment, a spokeswoman for OPM said that the probationary period is, quote, "a continuation of the job application process, not an entitlement for permanent employment." Kelley, in his statement about the terminations that occurred Thursday and Friday of last week, said that the firings are eliminating talent the government spent years acquiring. He said, quote, "AFGE will fight these firings every step of the way, and that the organization will stand with every impacted employee, pursue every legal challenge available, and hold this administration accountable for its reckless actions. Federal employees are not disposable," he said, adding that, quote, "we will not allow the government to treat them as such." In other news, the Treasury Department's Office of the Inspector General said it has opened an audit into the agency's payment system after Department of Government Efficiency liaisons accessed the personal and financial information of Americans stored by the Bureau of Fiscal Service. In letters to Democrats in the Senate and House, Loren Sciurba, Treasury's Deputy Inspector General, said the OIG initiated the audit into Bureau of Fiscal Service systems before the lawmakers made the request last week. The audit will examine applicable payment system controls that have been in place since October 1st, 2024, in addition to the two most recent fiscal years as it relates to alleged fraudulent payments. Sciurba said the watchdog's fieldwork is expected to begin immediately, but it's unlikely to be finished until August given the breadth of the effort. The Treasury IG's goals with the audit are to determine whether current controls for granting or restricting access to Bureau of Fiscal Service payment systems are adequate, and if controls to ensure payments are sufficiently following laws, regulations, and federal guidance. The watchdog said it would also follow up on any allegations of improper or fraudulent payments made by Fiscal Service. The audit comes amid growing concerns about the security of Americans' personal and financial information following reports that Elon Musk surrogates operating as DOGE liaisons to the Department of the Treasury had accessed Bureau of Fiscal Service payment systems as part of their so-called efficiency work. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. The Daily Scoop podcast is available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with brand new episodes. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.